I'm Derek, and I manage a high-end clothing store in Chicago. Last Tuesday, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I threw a homeless guy out of my store because he looked dirty and broke. Turns out, he wasn't just some random vet, he owned the entire freaking mall. Let me back up. I've been managing this luxury menswear store at Millennium Plaza for 3 years now. It's one of those fancy spots where suits start at $2,000, and the clientele are all CEOs, lawyers, and tech millionaires. My boss, Mr. Richardson, drilled it into my head from day one. Derek, our image is everything. We cater to winners, not losers. I took that seriously, maybe too seriously. That morning started like any other Tuesday. The mall was quiet, just a few shoppers browsing. I was restocking the Italian leather section when I noticed him through the window. This guy in a worn military jacket, ratty jeans, and a backpack that had seen better days. He had this scruffy beard, and his boots were practically falling apart. He walked into my store. I immediately felt my stomach drop. Look, I'm not proud of what I'm about to tell you, but in retail, we're trained to profile customers. It's messed up, I know. This guy looked homeless, and my first thought was, he's gonna steal something or scare away my real customers. He started browsing the suits, running his fingers along a $3,000 Tom Ford. I walked over, putting on my customer service smile, but inside I was freaking out. "Can I help you with something?" I asked, my tone probably colder than it should have been. He looked at me with these tired blue eyes. "Just looking at suits. Got a meeting coming up." A meeting? This guy? I almost laughed. His jacket had visible stains, and he smelled like he hadn't showered in days. There was no way he could afford anything in here, and honestly, I just wanted him gone before Mr. Richardson showed up or some actual customers walked in. "Sir, I don't think we have anything in your price range," I said, glancing at his backpack. "Maybe try the Gap down on the first floor." He didn't move. "I'd like to look around, if that's okay." That's when I lost it. I'd had a rough morning. My girlfriend had just dumped me, my car was in the shop, and I was behind on rent. I wasn't in the mood to deal with this. "Look, man, I'm gonna be straight with you. This is a high-end store. We have standards. I can't have you in here scaring away customers who actually have money to spend. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave." His expression changed. The tiredness in his eyes shifted to something else. Disappointment, maybe anger, but he didn't argue. He just nodded slowly and turned toward the door. I watched him walk out, and honestly, I felt relieved. I went back to work, reorganizing the display cases, helping a couple of actual customers. About an hour later, my coworker Jamie came in for her shift. "Did you hear?" she said, eyes wide. "The mall owner is doing surprise visits today. He's checking out every store." My heart stopped. Mr. Richardson had warned us about this. The mall had been sold 6 months ago to some mysterious investor, and nobody had actually met the new owner yet. Word was he was a billionaire who'd made his fortune in tech and real estate. He apparently liked to show up unannounced to see how his properties were really running. "When?" I asked. "Like right now. He's been going floor by floor." I straightened my tie and made sure everything looked perfect. This was huge. If I impressed the mall owner, maybe I could finally get that promotion I'd been chasing. 20 minutes later, I saw him. The homeless vet. He was walking through the mall corridor with an entourage, 2 people in business suits, a woman with a tablet, and mall security. But he'd cleaned up a bit, and without the backpack, something about him looked different, more authoritative. My stomach twisted into knots. They walked into my store. "Good afternoon," I said, my voice shaking slightly. "Welcome to—" "We've met," the vet said, his voice ice cold. The woman with the tablet looked at me, then at him. "Mr. Hawthorne, is there a problem?" Mr. Hawthorne? The mall owner? Oh my God, I felt like I was gonna throw up. "Sir, I didn't—" "You didn't what?" he interrupted. "Didn't realize that the guy you threw out of your store an hour ago owned the building you work in?" The 2 suits behind him exchanged glances. Jamie, who'd been organizing inventory in the back, froze and stared at me with pure horror. I tried to salvage it. "Mr. Hawthorne, I sincerely apologize. I made a terrible judgment call. If I'd known who you were—" "That's the problem, Derek," he said, reading my name tag. You should treat every single person who walks through that door with respect, regardless of who they are or what they look like. He walked deeper into the store, looking around like he was seeing it for the first time, which I guess he was as the owner. I'm a veteran. I served 2 tours in Afghanistan. When I came home, I struggled. PTSD, couldn't hold down a job, ended up on the streets for almost a year. I stood there speechless. Everyone in the store had gone silent. A businessman gave me a chance when I looked exactly like I did today. Dirty, broke, desperate. He didn't judge me. He saw potential. That's how I turned my life around, built my companies, and bought this mall. He turned to face me directly. I come here once a month, dressed like that, to see how my tenants treat people who look down on their luck. It's a test. A test I just spectacularly failed. I've been to 15 stores today, he continued. Most people were polite, even if they were skeptical. A few offered me water, directions, kindness. You're the only one who kicked me out. I wanted to disappear. Sir, please, I can explain. What's there to explain? You judged me based on my appearance. You assumed I was worthless because I looked homeless. He shook his head. Do you know how many veterans are on the streets right now? How many people are one bad break away from losing everything? I felt tears stinging my eyes. I'm so sorry. I was wrong. Completely wrong. The woman with the tablet was taking notes. One of the suits whispered something to Hawthorne. Here's what's going to happen, Hawthorne said. I'm going to give you a choice, Derek. You can keep your job, but you're going to spend the next 6 months volunteering at the VA center downtown every weekend. You're going to meet real veterans, hear their stories, understand what service and sacrifice actually mean. Or you can walk away right now. I didn't hesitate. I'll volunteer, whatever it takes. I want to make this right. Would you have done the same? Let me know in the comments. Hawthorne studied me for a long moment. The entire store felt like it was holding its breath. Finally, he nodded. All right, but there's one more thing. He pulled out his phone and made a call. Send him up. 2 minutes later, a younger guy walked in, clean cut, wearing a nice jacket, carrying a resume folder. He looked nervous. This is Marcus, Hawthorne said. He's a vet, been looking for work since he got discharged last year. Just finished a retail management course. Derek, you're going to train him, and in 3 months, he's going to be your assistant manager. Marcus smiled, extending his hand. I shook it, feeling a weird mix of shame and relief. Marcus served our country, Hawthorne continued. He deserves a real shot, not judgment. And you, Derek, are going to learn that every person who walks through that door has a story. Some of them might surprise you. He turned to leave, his entourage following. But at the door, he stopped and looked back. My first business partner, the guy who gave me my shot, he told me something I never forgot. Character is how you treat people who can do nothing for you. You failed that test today, Derek. Don't fail it again. Then he said something that completely blew my mind. I'm issuing a new policy for all mall tenants. Every store will have training on implicit bias and compassion. And we're partnering with local homeless shelters and the VA to create a job pipeline. This mall is going to be a place where people get second chances, the kind I got. I stood there speechless as he walked away. The whole thing was insane. I'd gone from trying to impress the mall owner to nearly losing my job to becoming part of something way bigger than selling expensive suits. That was 3 months ago. Marcus started last week, and he's incredible, way better with customers than I ever was. We've placed 12 veterans in jobs across the mall. I spend my weekends at the VA center now, and I've heard stories that have completely changed how I see the world. I learned the hardest way possible that you can't judge people by their appearance. That homeless vet I tried to kick out, he's not just a millionaire, he's a genuinely good person using his success to lift others up. And somehow, despite my massive screw-up, he gave me a chance to be part of that mission. I'll never forget the look in his eyes when I told him to leave my store. It haunts me, but it also reminds me every single day to be better. If this story hit you, smash that like button, drop a comment about how you treat people differently now, and subscribe for more insane real-life stories. Trust me, you won't believe what's coming next.